Hi friends, it's Belinda here from BMakingJoy. Welcome to episode 38 of What Brings Me Joy, a mostly knitting podcast from my home here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, where I share my knitting progress with you, keep track of my WIPs, my works in progress, to hold me accountable for all the things that I start, and share a little bit about my life. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're a returning viewer, I'm so glad to have you back. I am recording this on Wednesday, August 28th, 2024. And I have two finished objects to show you. The progress on a few other WIPs. Lots of acquisitions from Knit City. I have the August Color of the Month from Ancient Arts Yarns. And I'm going to share some of my daughter's work as well, because I'm so proud of the thing that she's accomplishing. I've tried to get her to come on the show with me, but she's camera shy, but she happily gave me all her stuff to show. So it's been slightly more than 3 weeks since I last recorded, which right now feels like a long time. So I might try and get back on a 2-week schedule, especially since we're traveling the whole month of October. So yeah, there won't be a rhyme or reason to my schedule yet for a little while. What have I been doing? I've been working on my TKGA course, the Knitting Guild of America course on knitwear design. I have a fly bugging around in my face. I've now gotten my BMakingJoy name fully registered. That's my business trade name. I've gotten my inhaler carrier pattern tech edited and published on my blog now at bmakingjoy.ca. And as I said, Elana and I have been to Knit City, Calgary. We hung out most of the weekend and chatted with a lot of people there and had a lot of fun. And my husband and I have just returned from Penticton, where he participated in Ironman Canada. Here we had a few miserable days weather-wise. On the drive out, we talked about extending our trip and staying a little longer, and then the weather wasn't cooperative, so we came back home. The swim portion of the race had to be canceled because the water was too cold and unsafe. It was really weird. The water temperatures on Friday was 22 degrees Celsius. Then a storm rode in on Saturday. So Sunday morning, the water temperature was below 14 Celsius, and they deemed it unsafe. We stood around waiting. They were delaying it, hoping it would warm up. I guess they needed like just a little bit to pass their threshold of what they thought was acceptable. And then eventually they canceled the swim portion and started them off on the bike portion. So they started in order of their number 2 bikes at a time. So it's different, interesting. In the end, it all went well. The air temperature of that morning was 10 degrees Celsius, which is 50 Fahrenheit, which is extremely low for Penticton in August. But yeah. So I'm back home now, getting myself back in order and ready to share with you. So my finished objects, we'll start with what I'm wearing. I'm wearing the Ranunculus by Midori Hirose. Let's get the light on a little better. There we go. I did this in sugarcane fiber by Circulo in the color teal. I'm wearing it to Knit City and a few other places, but it has not been washed or blocked yet. So I'm starting to see the stitches starting to stretch out. So it needs to get blocked and washed and blocked and put back into shape. I did not do a swatch. I do not know how this material fiber is going to respond to washing, but we'll see. I'll report back how it does on the blocking. What was I going to say? Yeah, it's so comfy. I'm not pleased though with how my weaving in ends turned out. You can see it. So I'm hoping that the fiber will bloom some when it's washed and hide that. I did a duplicate stitch on the back side of weaving it in. Anyway, I ended with just cap sleeves, so right where you split for the body, I did the I-cord bind off. The I-cord bind off on the bottom, on the hem. And last episode, I was talking about how much yarn did I need to save for the I-cord bind off. And I was quoting Norman of Nimble Needles. I was quoting Norman of Nimble Needles, but I was misinterpreting what he had written. So, what he meant was that the length of yarn needed to do an I-cord bind off would be 13 times the width of the knitted piece. And I was misinterpreting that because I was trying to calculate how many grams I needed to save based on how many grams I was using per round. So I was using 3 grams per round, so I multiplied that by 13 and I saved 39 grams. And I thought I had the ball right here. Nope. Now I have 26 grams left, and this fruit fly is driving me nuts. Sorry. I'll get them yet. So I have 26 grams left now, meaning I used about 13 grams. And as I was working on the I-cord, my friends and I reasoned that to do a 4-stitch I-cord, you're knitting 4 stitches for each one that you bind off, plus using a little bit more yarn to go back to that first stitch. So 3 times 4 is 12, plus a little bit equals 13 grams. Makes sense, right? That's what I used. Maybe somebody needs to do an experiment and come up with a formula and see how different it is for what yarn and gauge you're using. It's Norman's formula, I think, is probably only based on what weight of yarn and what size needles you're using. It's going to change based on the height and width of your stitches, right? Not the width of the fabric. It's my opinion. Nevertheless, Norman's videos have always been fabulous in helping in tutorials. Okay, now the remaining 26 gram ball, I think I will use to make a very narrow Sophie scarf or an I-cord or something as a hair tie, eventually. Or it'll just hang around until something comes up. Go in my scrap bucket, but it's sugar cane and it's so soft. Loving it. Okay. My finished object number 2 is another inhaler carrier. Just a sec. My finished object number 2 is another inhaler cover. While I was working through the project with my tech editor, while we were working through the wording of my pattern, I whipped up another inhaler cover. And I also found another inhaler that I had thought I had lost, and it's still not expired. So now I have 2 that I can carry around. Let's put this in here. I still need to sew on the snap, that last little bit, but the knitting is finished. This is the pattern that has just been put up on my blog. The blog has lots of pictures in it. Or you can buy a printable PDF for $1 on my Ravelry page. So, yeah. So now I have 2. One to carry around on my little purse. And one to put on my big purse. My little purse is when I have a quick errand to run or something and I need my hands free. It carries my phone, my wallet, my keys, maybe a small knitting project, my shopping bags, etc. And then my bigger purse is for when I'm going somewhere where I will sit down and I will have a bigger project and possibly need my iPad and my books for ministry school, or anyway, there's always other medications in there, and my coffee and my water bottle. So, is it a big purse day or is it a small purse day? That's me. Anyway, those are my works, my finished objects. Now I'm going to show you some of my daughter's stuff that I'm really excited that she's been very creative. So, let's start with what she made for me. At Knit Group, she was chatting with one of the ladies who was working on a mohair sweater. So she got excited about mohair and found a crochet mohair cowl. I don't know if it goes that way or this way. It's almost the same either way, I guess. There's some kind of fan and feather patterning in it. I don't know the name of the pattern or the designer. She found it online. It's kid silk mohair. Itchy. I don't know if I'm going to be able to wear it. It will definitely be very warm. And it does get very cold here, so we'll see. But she made it for me in my favorite color in yarn that she found on my shelf. And something else that she has been working on is, well, I'll show it to you first. She's been making a chain, like what the kids used to do, making paper chains. So she's been making a crochet chain. Each link of the chain is a different stitch from this book, Crochet Stitch Dictionary by Sarah Hazel. There's 200 stitches in there. We'll see if she actually makes 200. Of course, I guess some of them, she said, are going to be too loosey-goosey for a chain. But yeah, each watch is a different stitch. We've got 5 already blocked and assembled. She just brought me 3 more to block for her. I'm going to wash this right after we finish the podcast, and then block these. So yeah, I don't know anything about the stitches, which stitches are which, but they're very pretty. The book, she started at the beginning of the book, so the book starts with the very basic stitch, and then just gets more and more complicated as she goes on. So, she's having a lot of fun with that, and I think this chain was a great idea. She decorate her room that she's been cleaning and organizing and rearranging. Awesome. One more, or 2 more that go together. While we were at Knit City, Ancient Arts had a lounge area set up. They sponsored a lounge area where you could sit and knit and chat. And they had some trays of samples out on the table, little bits and bobs of yarn. And she saw the cat colors, calico cat colors. Ancient Arts Yarns makes a lot of different various cat colors. And so she sat down and picked up a crochet hook and made this cat out of the calico yarn. And then she picked up a bigger crochet hook and made this one. So I guess we've got mommy and baby. Actually, I'm going to put those against a background here so you can see them better. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, that's a better view. Pretty neat. So she had previously downloaded that pattern onto her phone, and so she sat there, pulled out her phone, and whipped them up. Pretty impressive, these young ones that can read things like that on their phone. Okay, now I've got quite a mess around me. I'm going to pause, clean up, and then come back with my whips. I made a lot of progress on my purse project. Actually, this went in my bigger purse for Knit City, so that I could take the smallest project with me, have more space in my big bag for my purchases. So this is the vanilla socks that I'm working on with the Greatest Yarnie Adventure yarn. So this is yarn from Woolen Women Fibers, a colorway called the Greatest Yarnie Adventure, and it came with minis for the toes and heels. There was a lighter blue, this light, whatever color you call that, and a darker blue in the set. I haven't decided which color I'm going to use for the heels. There's enough of this left to use for the heels. I haven't decided who they're for. I'm just going to keep knitting the tubes. I'm doing them 2 at a time, round and round. And then afterwards, I'll decide who they're for, and I'll measure and cut a afterthought heel. So this yarn was done as a collaboration between Woolen Women Fibers and Nitty Natty of 11 Stitches, who is traveling the U.S. in her van, visiting various Yarnie stores and having a great Yarnie adventure, hence the name of this colorway. It's a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. I bought mine in this sock blank format, which is both yarns knit together in a sock and then dyed. So I'm getting 2 identical socks, but I'm getting a little bit of a tangled mess as I unravel it. So, whatever, it's fun. It's working. It's the perfect first project. Plain vanilla socks. Okay. The Milton Cardigan by Joji Locatelli is now in my car bag I picked up from Hawaii that had some chocolate goodies and stuff in it years ago. A Milton Cardigan by Joji Locatelli. Got a lot of work done in the car. So it's a top down, partway through a new round. So I'm getting tired of this body section. How much more do I have on that skein? I've been trying to get to the end of this one skein. Still quite a bit, so that I can start on the sleeves and then come back to the body later. I want to decide for myself how long to make the body. Of course, there are specific instructions, but I want to have the sleeves done, try it on with the sleeves, see how it's fitting, and then decide how long I want the body. And also make sure I'm not playing yarn chicken. Each row is now taking me about 20 minutes. I've forgotten how many stitches are actually on that row. It's done with the gray is a sport weight Fiber Natura Kingston tweed in the color marble. And this blue is, the Kingston tweed is a 50% wool, 25% alpaca, 25% viscose. This blue is a lace weight. It's Manos de Uruguay Marina, a superwash merino in the color Atlantis. I keep thinking I have cat hair on it because that Fiber Natura is very hairy. I'm hoping when it gets washed, those hairs will tame down. I have to keep stopping myself from picking them off. Still loving the texture, loving the colors. It's going to make a wonderful dress-up sweater. Okay. I've got it in 2 different bags here, one inside the other. How did I do that? I was swapping things around. Okay. Now, my favorite project right now is this Pokémon themed cloak I am designing with my daughter, Elana. So we've been working on it since last August, so you've seen it many times. So working on the hood part here. She did the graph for the Pokeball and it turned out wonderful. And now I'm working on decreasing at the top of the hood. So let's see. Can I show you roughly what we've got going here? So yeah, working on decreasing, trying to keep it looking like a ball, keeping it round instead of just a simple Kitchener bind off. I'm trying to decrease down to keep it round. So there's only 15 more rows before I know if my plan's working. If not, I've got a plan B, and I'm willing to frog back those 50 rows and try again if I have to. Yeah, working well. When I write the pattern, you will be able to do it in just one color or any color theme that you want. I'm looking forward to doing one for myself with a solid body and a coordinating hem and button band and hood. No Pokemon colors for me. So yeah, this is the Pokemon theme set of 31 minis that we purchased last year from Fangirl Fibers. And I'm pairing it with the white, black, and red on sock needle from Ancient Arts. Oh, yeah. Coming along. Looking forward to getting it done. I've told my tech editor I have a pattern almost ready. But I'm not quite sure what almost means. Okay. My Snowflake Throw has now made its way into my crazy yarn lady bag. Everything got rearranged as I was packing for Penticton. But this one did not come to Penticton with me. Anyway, I'm still keeping up with my goal of adding one new color each month. So August is the 8th month. I've got 8 colors in here now. This is another design I'm working on, writing up. I am using last December's Enchanted Winter Fade set from Ginger Snap That, which came in 12 mini 50 grams skeins, fading from the white to the blue to purple sunset to a darker blue. I've spoken with Kim recently, Kim of Ginger Snap That, and she tells me that they do not remake any of their Advent colorways. So sadly, this particular fade will not be available. But that would look beautiful in any fade combination of blues and whites. Yeah. So I started with a snowflake in the center. Then I've got kids doing snow angels and building snowmen. And then as it gets dark, it starts to snow again. Now the only design decision I have left to make is what kind of bind off to do. I'm thinking an I-cord bind off. I've become quite partial to I-cord bind offs. Yeah. But yeah, speaking about the colors, it doesn't even have to be 12 different colors, right? It could be 6 100 gram skeins. Okay. I did cast on the August stock of the Summer Shorties Stock Club hosted by Ancient Arts Yarns, but I am going to frog it, start over again at another time. This is the Chain of Hearts Shorties by Barb Brown. So I've got the cuff and the heel done, and then I couldn't get it on over my heel. These colorwork part turned out too tight, so I'm going to go up. This gets folded in later anyways. That's how it looks. So I'm going to go up a needle size, going to go up to the 2.75 millimeter needles. So I will be frogging this back to start over again. But those 2.75 needles that I want to use are on my herding cat socks. So I plan to finish those now before I restart these ones. So as I'm editing, I will be frogging this. The herding cat socks. Oh, did I tell you that was a kit assembled by Ancient Arts Yarns? Those colorways were cranberry and golden retriever in the sock natal base. And this is also a kit, not the bag. The bag came somewhere else. This is also a kit assembled by Ancient Arts Yarns. It's the herding cat socks. The pattern is by Charlotte Stone of Stone Knits. The yarns are sock natal. I had sock number 1 finished last summer. Sock number 2 was languishing at the cuff. So it came with me to Penticton. And when the weather got rainy, dreary, I spent a lot of time knitting in the hotel room. So I did 4 socks in the hotel room in Penticton. 4 cats. 4 rows of cats. Yeah. By Charlotte Stone of Stone Knits. I will link that. I link everything that I can link for you in the description box. The kit is still available on the Ancient Arts website, so I will link that as well. This yarn is their sock natal base, and the base color is dune grass, and then the cats, Ancient Arts has a bunch of different cat colorways: calico cat, tuxedo cat, etc., etc. So there's 7 different cat colorways in this sock. So yeah, I did tell you last summer that it's going to be too small for me. The color work has come up too tight, so it's going to be for my daughter. However, I am not worried about using the same needle size on the Chain of Hearts socks, because that sock has fewer floats. I think it's the long floats and catching floats that causes the color work to knit up even tighter. So I did this one just on the needles that it was written for. The Chain of Hearts socks was written for a 2.5 millimeter needle, so I think a 2.75 millimeter needle will work wonderfully for that. Anyhow, get these ones finished first, and then we'll see about whether I start the Chain of Hearts socks again right away. Okay, so you may be wondering now, how many projects do I have on the needles now? So let's officially update my current WIP count list. Last episode, I was at 11 unfinished knitting projects. Since then, I finished the Ranunculus. I started and finished another inhaler cover. And although I started the Chain of Hearts, I'm going to frog it today, so we're not going to count it as a WIP. So that will bring my WIP count down to 10. And I have finished all the sewing in my mending pile, but I did not go back to work on my husband's t-shirt quilt. I'm going to leave this book out on the bed to remind me to take project photos and update my Ravelry pages. Now, let's clean up these WIPs and bring out my yummy yarn acquisitions. Okay, acquisitions. Let's start with the color of the month from Ancient Arts Yarns. Ancient Arts is here in Calgary. I talk about them every episode because it's my local LYS where I go to knit group. I've been getting their color of the month for the last year and a half, 2 years, year and a half, on their stock needle base, 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. All of their color of the month themes this year are based on famous paintings of flowers. So this is August by Gustav Klimt, 1862 to 1918. The color is called Bauerngarten. I apologize for pronunciations. I have a lot of trouble with pronunciations with my hearing. I can't hear myself half the time. I'll read what she have written in her monthly email. Caroline of Ancient Arts Yarns researched this and wrote this blurb. Gustav Klimt, 1862-1918, was an Austrian symbolist painter, primarily noted for his allegorical works and female portraits. Early in his career, Klimt was a successful painter of architectural... I might need my glasses. Successful painter of architectural decorations executed in a conventional manner. As he began to develop a more personal style, his work increasingly became the subject of controversy, which culminated when the paintings he completed around 1900 for the ceilings of the Great Hall of the University of Vienna were criticized for their radical subject matter and the way in which the subject matter was executed. Klimt stepped out of the historical ways of depicting figures and was excoriated as going too far when painting women. And I will be inserting pictures as I go along that she included in her email. One of Klimt's most famous works is the portrait of Adele Bloch-Bauer, also painted in 1907. You may have seen the movie Woman in Gold, starring Helen Mirren and Ryan Reynolds, which tells the story of the painting and its restoration to the Bloch-Bauer estate. Klimt was... I'm hearing something weird. Oh, it might be dripping. It's raining really bad outside. It's really dark and gray, which might be affecting my lighting, even though I have the curtain closed. Yeah, because I have the curtain closed. So let's see. The lighting's not too bad. Anyway, I'm hearing a dripping sound. I hope you don't hear it. Okay, where was I? Klimt was a founding member of the Vienna Secession, also known as the Union of Austrian Artists, which is an art movement that is closely related to Art Nouveau. It was formed in 1897 by a group of Austrian painters, graphic artists, sculptors, and architects, including Joseph Hoffmann, Coleman Moser, and Otto Wagner. These artists resigned from the Association of Austrian Artists in protest against its support for more traditional artistic styles. The initial Vienna Secession goals were to provide exhibitions for unconventional young artists, to bring the works of the best foreign artists to Vienna, and to publish its own magazine to showcase the work of each member. The group wished to establish contact and exchange ideas with artists outside Austria as a reaction to artistic nationalism, which they felt stifled the decorative arts, and created a total art that unified painting, architecture, and the decorative arts. The group strove to be forward-looking and rebel against what they saw as the commercialization and subsequent stifling of artistic creativity. While Klimt eventually left this group over a dispute about their priorities, the group he helped to found still exists today. From 1890 onward, Klimt became increasingly interested in landscape painting. Klimt was inspired by both by Van Gogh's use of intense colors and pure paint thickly applied, as well as the Japanese style of painting flowers. Bauerngarten, 1907, is a perfect example of the use of tight perspective and thicker brushwork when applying the paint. The close-up of the flower garden shows the viewer Klimt's love of pattern and design, as well as a looser style of painting. The flowers are arranged in a pyramid and play with the complementary effect of green and orange red. And the patch of blue flowers near the center of the garden acts as a focal point that leads the eye to the center of the garden. For more information about Bauerngarten and this unique close-up views of the painting, have a look at this video, and I will try to include the link that she included in my description box below. This video produced by Softies. When the painting went up for auction in March 2017, it sold for $59.3 million. Woo! I balk at spending $59 on something. $59 million on a painting? Ah, no. Anyway, it's beautiful. Okay. Knit City. Knit City was in Calgary, August 17th and 18th. And my haul from Knit City consists of 8 skeins of yarn and a t-shirt. And my daughter bought 6 skeins of yarn, which I will also show you. First, this one. Ancient Arts Yarns made a special colorway for this event that they called Calgary. So, of course, I bought it. It's already wound because I picked it up from the store itself just a few days before Knit City, and I made a swatch to take with me. So you might remember that last month in Kelowna, I bought this color, Stormy Nights by Okanagan Dye Works, and I made a plan to do a coast-to-coast shawl. So this is mountains, and this is Calgary. So I took this swatch with me to Knit City, and I bought Ocean. This yarn is from Crafty Jack's Boutique. This is on their Tough and Tender base, which is a 90% superwash Targhee wool, a 10% nylon. So yes, I will be mixing fibers in this shawl, which I think is okay as long as the garment's always going to be hand washed and laid flat to dry. I think mixing fibers is okay. Crafty Jacks is, there's their logo. Crafty Jacks is from Print Meadows, BC, British Columbia, which is just on the edge of Vancouver, so it's somewhat near the ocean. And this colorway is actually called Ocean. So I will start my shawl with this to represent the Pacific Ocean. And then we go across the Rocky Mountains through the city of Calgary. And then the prairies. I bought this one from Cog Yarns, which is based out of Regina, Saskatchewan. This fiber is an MCN sock yarn, which is 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. And this color is called Corn Maize. And I think it represents Eastern Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba very well. So, ocean, mountain, Calgary, prairies. I'm going to do a very wide, probably more of a blanket, a throw. I'll call it a throw. And yeah. And then when I go to the PEI Fiber Festival, I'll have these 2 colors added into my swatch and take it with me to the PEI Fiber Festival in October. PEI is Prince Edward Island, Canada. And there I will find some yarn for the eastern provinces. And after Prince Edward Island, we're going to Scotland. So if I should happen to find any appropriate yarn there, I will make it a coast to coast and across the pond design. I finally got to meet Megan from Pearl Passion in person at Knit City. She and I have known each other online for a couple of years. We have a lot in common. We're both originally from Nova Scotia. We both love the color purple. Our birthdays are one day apart, plus 20 some odd years. And she is the designer of these yarns on the wall. The modification of the beehive quilt I made. That one's a 2022 advent called Memories in Yarn. And then if you were watching me in December, January, you saw me make the anthology throw out of her 2023 Memories in Yarn collection. Anyhow, I have somewhere in my stash a set of purple minis, a fade of purples, 12 different purple shades from her. So I bought this to pair with them. This is from her Barbie collection, and the color is What Was I Made For? So I will insert a picture of this yarn next to those purple yarns, and you can tell me if they coordinate well. My intention originally with those purples was to make a skirt using the same kind of waistband as my seafoam skirt and my turnpike skirt designs. But those are in DK yarn. I will need to change the math for fingering weight yarn. And now I'm second guessing myself as to whether I will have enough yarn. Of course, the skirt will have to be shorter. How short is too short for my comfort? Of course, is it going to be too complicated to write a garment done in mini skeins for an inclusive size range? I have too many questions with my idea. I have too many other ideas on the brain, so we'll see when I get around to this. But 85% merino, 15% nylon, which I think is the same base as the other purples were. One of the first booths we came to was Rose Hill Yarns, and I saw this color from across the room. And if you know me, you'll understand why I bought it. This color attracted me from across the room. Purples and blues and yellows. This color is called Sweet Pea, which is a flower that comes in many different shades of purples and blues and pinks and yellows. This base is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. I have no idea yet what they might become, but the colorways are just right up my alley. These are by Rose Hill Yarns, based out of Calgary, Alberta, which is just outside of Edmonton. 3 hours away from here. Okay. My next purchase is from Ginger Snap That, which is also based out of Calgary. I've used their yarns before in the Snowflake Throw, and back in May I knit a pair of socks, a pair of knee-high socks for my daughter Elana in their black light reactive yarn. So this yarn is also black light reactive, although only the sprinkles glow. I hope I can knit it without pulling out all those nubby sprinkles. I want to do a t-shirt with this one. I bought a black light flashlight for $10 from Amazon. So I'm going to turn out the lights so we can have a look at that glow. Okay, let's get these lights turned off. Actually, let's turn off this thing too. Pretty cool, huh? So I'm going to do a t-shirt with that. I don't know if you can see the rest of the things in my room that kind of glow in the black light. Pretty cool. My daughter and I were having some fun with this flashlight. Anyway, let's get the lights back on. Oh, $10 on Amazon. Okay, ginger snap that. I think I told you everything about that one. Okay. Oh. It's not all. I bought a mystery pack. I've always loved grab bags, surprise boxes. They remind me of being a kid and going to the corner store. I can't remember the name of the store. Why did I suddenly want to remember the name of the store? It doesn't matter. And buying the little paper bags full of different penny candies. It's a surprise what you got. I have so many hair things because I always bought the grab bags at Ardene's. Surprise bags of hair things and costume jewelry. So I bought a surprise bag from Sea Panda Yarns. And I have already opened it and looked at it, but I think I'm going to leave it in the box for a while, just for the fun of it. Like, it's a white and black yarn. There's no colorway written on it, but it's strong fingering. 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 482 yards for 100 grams. White and black. And my first thought when I saw this is that I have 2 skeins of a white and black sparkly yarn with Elana in it. So I could pair it with that if I need to stretch the yardage. I could do border in this. I could do cuffs, necklines, waistband in this if I need to stretch the yardage. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to use that sparkly black and white yarn for. But this can go with it. So Sea Panda Yarns sadly just announced after Knit City that she has decided to shut down. Understandable. It is so hard to keep a small business going while managing a household. She was dying out of her house, finding the space and the time and doing all that safely, I'm sure is hard. Anyway, that's that. I have one more light to turn back on. Let's see if that makes a difference. I think it does. Now, I have a purchase from Blossom Stitch Company. This is from Ash and Amanda of Blossom Stitch Company. I think they're sisters. One of the girls, Amanda, often comes to our knit group, and she does some teaching for Ancient Arts. But together they do mainly stitch markers and stickers. But when they posted an Instagram video of stamping these t-shirts, I knew right away that I was going to get one. So that's that. I don't know what's more to say about that. And my daughter bought, I'm getting old. This bending up and down is not going so smoothly anymore. Pardon the plastic rattling. She bought 3 skeins of each color. Mohair, because she got on that mohair kick, remember? It's not mohair, because the mohair was too itchy. It's alpaca. I didn't write any notes for this, so let me grab my glasses and read the label. She bought 3 skeins of each. Her thought is to do a dress, and it'll be a lacy-loosey dress, so it'll be over another dress. There are 2 different yarns from 2 different companies. This one is from Crafty That Way. The base is called Fantastic Fluff. It's 53% baby alpaca, 34% silk, and 13% cashmere. So these weight yarn, and the colorway is Red Currant. So yes, very soft, very soft. And then this one is from Miles Apart, something French, and Lane's Tents a la Man. Hand-dyed yarns. I guess that's French for hand-dyed yarns. The colorway is Noir is French for night. I know that much. And Nuage Alpaca Cloud. 74% baby alpaca. Baby Surrey alpaca, 26% soy de Marais, mulberry silk, and lace weight. So they're very similar, except this one has cashmere in it and this one does not. Yeah. So she's going to combine them into a dress. Her thought is she wants to do some sort of a dragon design on it. And she's been playing around with designs of how to do the mesh in one color and then do a design on top of it in a duplicate stitch. So she was playing around with different stitches. I'm not sure which and which she's decided on, or if she's even decided on yet. But looking forward to watching this foray into designing. Pretty cool that she's following my footsteps, and make me more excited about this whole yarn business and design business and building a legacy to pass on to her. Pretty cool. Okay. You'll find a link to the websites of all these vendors in my show notes in the description box below. And that's all I have to show you. That's all for this time. So I'll see you next time, which should be in about 2 weeks. Thanks for watching. Happy knitting, crocheting, beading, embroidery, sewing. Whatever it is you like to do, go find some joy. And if you've enjoyed this video, please click the like button. If you have any comments for me, any questions, any suggestions, just put them in the box down below. Thank you.